Meanwhile, Democrats on Capitol Hill are preparing to fight back against policies proposed under Trump's second term.
Stephen Miller and Tom Homan were the architects of a lot of the first Trump administration horrific immigration policies. And so family separation, mass detentions, those kinds of things is what was promised and by the Trump administration, and I think what we're going to have to fight.
Senator-elect Ruben Gallego won Arizona. The GOP has an edge in both the Senate and the House. Senate Republicans are gearing up for a leadership battle. President-elect Trump urging those vying for majority leader to allow recess appointments where he could install certain positions without Senate confirmation.
This preemptive effort to install cabinet members by recess appointments, this is a Trump feature.
Senators will vote on a majority leader Wednesday.
Hold fast, y'all. I'm not done. Let's go.
And while we fight to move...
Mayor Johnson, I apologize. A couple weeks ago, I asked you if you...
And while we fight to move our nation forward to a brighter future, Donald Trump and his extremist allies will keep trying to pull us backward. We all remember what they did to tear families apart. And now they have pledged to carry out the largest deportation, a mass deportation in American history. Imagine what that would look like and what that would be. How's that going to happen? Massive raids? Massive detention camps? What are they talking about? And
what are they talking about? Hey, man, we can stop that right there, man. We can stop that right there. What's going on, good people? It's your boy, Jay Taylor. Good morning. Peace and blessings. And I'm back with another video. And as the title says, the hypocrisy of Democrats regarding illegal immigration. And I promised I was going to do this video, and I'm so happy that I'm able to put this together because the Democrats of yesteryear were definitely singing a different tune. And I'm going to prove that to y'all this morning. The Democratic Party was sounded just like Donald Trump not too long ago. And as you see, with the two clips that I opened this video out with, the Democrats were totally against mass deportation, totally against being sanctuary cities and things of that nature. But we're going to see what a lot of these Democratic leaders of recent time had to say. And before we get into the commentary, and as always, we got to go ahead and get the copyright disclaimer together. This is going to be a good video. And this is going to be one of those ones that we need to run them numbers up. And anytime they tell you anything different, that this was a bipartisan issue as far as illegal immigration is concerned. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing, nonprofit, educational, or personal use, tips the balance in favor of fair use. All right, so we got that out the way. And I can knock that screen down. I got a lot of screens up here because I got a lot of commentary for y'all today, which has been a while since I was able to sit down and actually put together something. But I've been having a lot of people going back and forth with me on my social media about illegal immigration and mass deportation and, you know, being from Chicago, how people feel about it. And they hypocrites, bro. You know what I'm saying? They hypocrites because when Obama, which deported way more people than Trump ever could, deported people, put people in cages, nobody had nothing to say. They was all for it. You know, the Democrats was all for it when any other president that was a Democrat was for mass deportation, for enforcing our immigration laws, for protecting our borders. No nation could survive without strong borders. Now that Trump's doing it, we're gonna prove that they got TDS. And first off, let's go back to the 90s. Okay? Let's go back to the 90s here. We're gonna start with good old Bill Clinton. Let's see what he had to say about mass deportation. Let's go.
All Americans, not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately...
What did he say? Hold on, run that back. We are a nation of what? But we are also a nation of who? Let's run that back.
Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately...
Pin that. We are a nation of immigrants, and we are also a nation of laws. If he don't sound like Donald J. Trump, I don't know what to tell you. Let's continue.
Self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
The whole Congress is clapping. It wasn't no, oh, this is just a Republican or a Democrat issue. Everybody on both sides of the aisle gave a standing ovation.
Why don't you wake up and smell what you shoveling?
Because you know what they shoveling, man. A bunch of nonsense, bro. And I told y'all I was going to prove this today in a real way, in real time. That was Bill Clinton back in 1995, right? You know what I'm saying? Signing just like Donald Trump in 2025. 30 years later, the Democrat Party is trying to be polar opposite against mass deportation when both Democrats and Republicans and independents, everybody felt the same way. Every other country on this planet is in favor of protecting their borders. Why wouldn't we be? It's a safety hazard. It, like Bill Clinton just said, it messes up the economy as far as the taxes. And that don't make you a mean person because you want to enforce your immigration laws that have been on the books since the beginning of time. And it don't stop there. It don't stop there. Right? So we got somebody else. We got his wife, Miss Hillary Clinton, saying the same exact thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, this wasn't no issue, bro. But now Trump doing it, it's an issue. Let's go. When she was running for office.
So I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they have tough conditions, tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they've been working and are law abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes, and you have to try to learn English, and you have to wait.
What? You got to wait for what?
In line.
Okay, now am I crazy? Am I tripping? But don't she sound like Donald Trump? She sound like Donald Trump. You got to wait in line. Because it's people that have put in the time and effort to become an American citizen. I don't think people realize how good America has it until you go on other sides of the planet and you see how other people have it, where we take for advantage certain things, simple things like running water. We take for advantage air conditioning. That's a luxury in other places. We take for advantage a lot of things, you know, that people, why you think they trying to sneak over here? Yeah, America got its issues, but we have certain luxuries that other people on the planet that we don't even realize, bro. We ain't worried about too many people coming over here bombing in America. We have the strongest military on the planet. Do you understand? Them people, some of them countries in the Middle East, they don't know. You know what I'm saying? They don't know if they gonna get bombed tomorrow night or today. I mean, we got a big body of water that separates us from everybody else, except for Canada and Mexico. And people that come over here legally, they ain't just Mexicans. They ain't just people from Central America. These people come through, they go through great lengths to come from other places of the country to come through the southwest border. You got people from the Middle East, people from Asia, people from all over the world. If they know the border open, they gonna come. You know what I'm saying? And man, we got to get to it, man, because see, a lot of people talk about Trump out here with mass deportation, man. Like I've said, Obama was the mass deportating commander in chief. He deportated more people than anybody could put together, put them in cages. He was way more brutal than Trump. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna get off into some facts about that. We ain't gonna just sweep that under the rug like y'all love Obama, but when he was doing it, it wasn't a problem. But it's a problem with Trump doing it.
Done. So I want to make sure you're armed with the facts here. According to a Pew Research data analysis released in August, the Obama administration deported 2.4 million undocumented immigrants between 2009, when President Obama took office, and 2014. That's an
2.4 million. He deported 2.4 million. And that from 2009 to 2014. That's 5-6 years.
Precedented number. That's a record number of deportations. Now, that only gets us through 2014. If you add just sort of like an average number for 2015 and 2016, which is mostly over at this point, to that 2.4 million deportation number, President Obama has deported roughly 3.2 million undocumented immigrants.
Altogether, in his 8 years in office, he had deported 3.2 million. Trump could only dream of doing something like that. Only reason why he could only dream of doing something like that is he got so much pushback from the Democratic Party. You got sanctuary cities like Chicago that are fighting against the ICE agents and hiding them. Obama had full cooperation from the Republicans cities and of course, Democratic cities. He didn't have no pushback. Trump mass deportation is slowed up because you got all these riots, you got all these protests, you got all these mayors and these governors of these states and cities that are fighting against the federal government instead of with Trump.
And that is more, again, that is more than the number that President-elect Donald promises to deport. Now, I want to add to that. Not only has President Obama deported more undocumented immigrants than the number that President-elect Donald says he will deport. He didn't do it with a wall that would be outrageously expensive. We actually have a net outflow of immigrants to Mexico. More people are moving back to Mexico than coming to Mexico, to the United States from Mexico, rather. And this is not about pro-Trump or anti-Obama. This is about, as an interesting Inquisitor article that I recently read says, everybody needs to look at themselves. If you voted for Trump because you wanted more people deported than what President Obama has done, well, you're not going to get that number of deportations because Donald Trump's promise of the number of people he will deport is a smaller number than the number of people that President Obama has already deported.
Bam. We can stop that right there. Like I said, Donald Trump could only dream of the numbers of deportations that Obama actually carried out. Right? But they try to make Donald Trump the face of mass deportation. Like it's something bad. You know what I'm saying? These people are just going home, bro. They ain't going to jail. But a lot of cases, they come over here and commit heinous crime. We see that with the Lake and Raleigh Act. You know what I'm saying? It's other people that we covered on this channel several time and time again. You know, it's a safety breach. It's worse on the economy. And we're going to double back on Obama, the severity of what his administration did during their deportations. You know what I'm saying? But let me find this video for y'all, man. Yeah, here you go. Now look at these images and shout out to Dan Bongino. He's part of Trump's administration. This was a few years ago that he did this. He gonna break it down. He gonna break it down, bro. About what see, once again, the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party regarding illegal immigration. He gonna illustrate that in this clip right here.
You think I'm making all this up? First, just to show you how unprincipled these people are, I want to show you some pictures from the Obama administration. Yes, the Obama administration, when they handled immigration and the separation and detention of children. Hat tip to the Daily Caller for putting together this compilation of understandably horrible photos from the Obama administration. Where was the calls for violence and outrage from the left? This is the, again, Obama administration. This has been wrapping people in foil blankets behind cages, more foil blankets, more kids in detention. This is, again, the Obama administration. Where was the outrage? The outrage was nowhere to be found. More kids behind cages. There you go, folks. There's a little one. The Obama administration. Hat tip Daily Caller for calling out these frauds on the left who didn't seem to care when kids were being put there. More cages, more Obama administration pictures, more Obama administration pictures.
So what was like the beginning of this video when I showed that clip of Kamala Harris? Right? What does that look like? Mass deportation, ICE raids. It looked like what your colleague Obama actually did. But Obama did it on steroids. President Trump pleaded with illegal immigrants and said, hey, if you in the country illegally, come down here, chop it up with us. If you got to go, we'll give you $1,000, put you on a first class flight. That was very nice. This is what Obama did. And he ain't played no games.
Pictures, more Obama administration pictures. This is not a principled debate, because if it was principled, you would have seen something from the far left. More cages. There was even more cages. There you go. Obama cages right there. This is strictly, purely 100% a political attack on Donald Trump. The left is offered solutions and they have nothing to do. They have no answers for this. They were offered a bill by Senator Ted Cruz to fix this. Trump put out an executive order. They're already threatening to sue. They do not want to solve. Here's even more. Juvenile holding. This is all under the Obama administration. We could go on all day. It's the Obama administration. They are not principled people. They are violent people. This radical far left, growing, festering sore on the ass of America is a group of violent people who don't give a damn about solving problems because they want to use problems, the threat of violence and outrage campaigns to have President Trump impeached because they obsess over power, because the big government nanny state the liberals want, the fuel for that fire is government power and elected office to rule over your life. They get power by leveraging emotion. They get power strictly by creating outrage campaigns. Outrage.
Exactly. That's all this is outrage campaigns, because like we said, it was a bipartisan issue for mass deportation. But they want to use Trump like he's such a bad dude because he's doing the same exact thing, but even at a lesser degree than who the people all love, Obama. Look at this. Look at these images. Trump ain't doing none of this. He ain't putting nobody in no cages. He putting them on first-class flights with $1,000 in their pocket if they cooperate. But what do you have? You have pushback from the Democratic cities, the blue cities and states like Mayor Brandon Johnson and Governor Pritzker. Like, no, we're a sanctuary city. We're a welcoming city. Meanwhile, they just spent upwards of $638 million to $2 billion if you include everything else that we're going to get to in this video and counting on illegal immigrants at the taxpayers' expense.
Outrage campaigns that they tend to use. They don't want to solve the problem because the outrage goes away. So they want to constantly fester violence and chaos. Chaos is it's like the water to their chia pet head. This is what they do. They sow chaos and violence.
Yep. And I'm gonna tell you something. We're gonna stop that right there. They hypocrites, bro. When you call them out on it, they get quiet. They don't have nothing to say. Nah, man. Share this video to anybody that say that the Democrats were always against mass deportation. They wasn't against it until Biden got in office. Now they want to open up the border. But even the Democratic leaders that are stopping the federal government right now from being open because they want to provide health care for illegal immigrants. Yeah. Even they, like Chuck Schumer here, even they were pro mass deportation. Oh yeah, I'm telling you, we going there today. We gonna nip this argument clear in the bud. They are hypocrites on the Democratic side, and here is your proof.
We must create a system that converts the current flow of primarily low-skilled illegal immigrants into the United States into a more manageable and controlled flow of legal immigrants who can be absorbed by our economy. Let me elaborate. The first...
What? Did he just make a difference? Like, it seemed like the Democrats don't know the difference between legal and illegal. I gotta run that back. Because this was back in 2009 when Obama was in office. Mind you, Chuck Schumer, leader of the Democratic Senate.
We must create a system that converts the current flow of primarily low-skilled illegal immigrants into the United States into a more manageable and controlled flow of legal immigrants who can be absorbed by our economy.
Who can be absorbed by our economy. Why? Because the taxpayers will have to overcompensate for people that are undocumented.
Let me elaborate. The first of these 7 principles is that illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple. Until the American...
Hypocrite. Because today, 16 years later, in 2025, you and your constituents have the government shut down because you want to provide health care for said illegal immigrants, which you just said was wrong.
Principles is that illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple. Until the American people are convinced that we will stop future flows of illegal immigration, We will make no progress on dealing with the millions of illegal immigrants who are here now and on rationalizing our system of legal immigration. It's plain and simple and unavoidable. When we use phrases like undocumented workers, we convey a message to the American people that their government is not serious about combating illegal immigration, which the American people overwhelmingly oppose. If you don't think it's illegal, you're not going to say it. I think it is illegal and wrong, and we have to change it. Above all else, the American people want their government to be serious about protecting the public, enforcing the rule of law, and creating a rational system of legal immigration that will proactively fit our needs rather than reactively responding to future waves of illegal immigration. People who enter the United States without our permission are illegal aliens, and illegal aliens should not be treated the same as people who entered the U.S. legally.
Sound just like Donald Trump.
To the advocates for strong, fair, effective, comprehensive immigration reform, and I'm certainly one, I say to you that the American people will never accept immigration reform unless they truly believe that their government is committed to ending future illegal immigration. And any successful, comprehensive immigration reform bill must recognize this fact.
Bruh. I'm just saying. Words out their own mouth. You know, that's the leader of the House, Chuck Schumer, man. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. 15, 16 years ago, he sounded like Donald Trump. So where all the pushback come from? I'm just trying to understand something. I would allege that the Democratic Party knows that they are losing voters at record numbers right now. So for them to maintain power, voting power that is, they will need to factor in another source of population. So during the Biden-Harris administration, they left the border wide open and they promised all of these illegal immigrants the American dream. They provided them with free healthcare, free housing, food at the taxpayer's expense to say, hey, if we could get enough illegal immigrants into the country, and we give them all these benefits, they're gonna vote for us. Yeah, and Trump is staying on course, is messing up their plans. But we know that happened under Joe Biden. And yeah, of course, I would have a clip of Joe Biden himself sounding like he was for illegal immigration laws being forced in our country back in his day. So we're going to get off into this. Joe Biden and what he had to say himself when he was a part of Senate. Let's get to it.
Class, and that is the hiring of undocumented workers by you and your husband. When we first met on January the 5th, following your being named by President-elect Clinton to be Attorney General, you volunteered this fact to me. You volunteered the circumstances under which this hiring took place, and you volunteered that what did take place was a violation of the United States immigration law.
So he's criticizing somebody for hiring illegal immigrants. Strange, right?
I've spoken to you at length about this matter, and you've been interviewed by the FBI and by the committee investigative staff under oath. And this matter is, as you know, a serious one in my view. The committee and the public, as we've discussed, has to be assured that you are, without exception, going to be willing to enforce the law. And the immigration law falls under your responsibility. It happens on your watch as Attorney General. And I believe it's
okay. So whoever was the Attorney General when Obama was in office, that's who he talking to. I don't know that off the top. But Joe Biden on immigration. Oh, wait a minute. No, 1993. So it was Clinton. My bad. I said Obama. So yeah, whoever was the attorney general, and we saw what Bill Clinton had to say earlier, that's who he's addressing. Which, shout out to Pam Bondi. She's the attorney general for Donald Trump right now, and she's with mass deportation and backing them up. So, yeah, this your boy Joe Biden, who left the border wide open in his presidency some 30 years later.
If it's important you have an opportunity to explain in even greater detail than you have in your opening statement the various circumstances surrounding this hiring. Now, let me begin my question, if I may, on this matter, and then when my second round is up, we'll get back to those matters that have not been touched upon, and I expect everything will have been related to the substantive operation of the department. When did you first hire the unauthorized workers? Ms. Barrett, I have a number of questions.
So we can't make that up, man. We can't make this up, bro. I'm dead serious. Joe Biden himself sitting up there criticizing somebody for hiring illegal immigrants. Hey, man, I told y'all, man, I was going to give it to you in the raw. It did today. The nerve of these Democrats. The government has been shut down for over a week now due to the fact that they want to give illegal immigrants health care. Right? Oh, and you know what's crazy is the fact that they would say that that's crazy. That's a lie. Right? Well, I have someone from Senate right here that's going to tell you the truth of what's going on. Senator Tim Scott. Let's get his take on what's going on with the shutdown up to present day. Oh, yeah, we're going there today. Let's get to it.
Schumer shutdown update. I can't believe it. Chuck Schumer continues to keep the government shut for two reasons. Number one, they have a big rally. Democrats on the far left, they have a big rally, No Kings rally, next Saturday, the 18th. They're not opening the government. They're going to let our troops go unpaid so they can have a big turnout for the rally. Number two, they will keep the government shut down just to provide health care for illegal immigrants while depriving women, infants, and children with the resources necessary to take care of their families. You can count on me to keep the government open. I voted for it several times. I'll vote for it again. That's what's at stake. Our law enforcement, our troops, and those vulnerable people waiting for the Democrats to open the government. Schumer, stop the Schumer shutdown right now.
Now, we see that, right? We see that. Right, that's a member of Congress of the Senate. You know what I'm saying? Saying that Chuck Schumer, who we just saw in real time, saying several years ago that he was against illegal immigration into the country. Now we have allegations that he's the one that's, as leader of the Senate, he's the one that helped stopping the government from being reopened. And I would agree because they want to provide $1.5 billion, which essentially would go to illegal immigrants for their health care. Ain't nobody finna be signing for that. Nah, you crazy. And they want to say, oh, no, that's not the case. That's not the case. Well, I beg to differ. The whole Democratic Party was in favor. And here goes further proof that the Democratic Party of today, during the Democratic debate, proved, they said themselves, all of them raised their hand, that they would implement laws to protect health care for illegal immigration. Let's go.
A lot of you have been talking tonight about these government health care plans that you've proposed in one form or another. This is a show of hands question, and hold them up for a moment so people can see. Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
Okay. Look at this. Every Democratic nominee, including Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, raised their hand that their policies would include health care for undocumented immigrants. So who's lying? Let's just take that all the way back and run it all the way through so you can see it. This is the Democratic debate.
A lot of you have been talking tonight about these government health care plans that you've proposed in one form or another. This is a show of hands question, and hold them up for a moment so people can see. Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants. Okay, let me start with you, Mayor Buttigieg. Why? A lot of you have been talking.
Okay, I ain't gonna play it again. But hey, when I told you, we gonna debunk all the lies on this video today. I'm sick of this because people be on my social media. They don't get benefits. They don't qualify for health care. You a lie. When we see the Democratic debate in real time saying that they would implement laws for them to get benefits, including health care. You guys, I'm telling you, I'm sending this, inboxing this to certain individuals on my social media that have been arguing me up and down about that. Right? And we see what's going on in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just using Chicago as an example. It's big business for illegal immigration. They money launder the money that they send for these undocumented. Like maybe some of the money actually goes to illegal immigrants, but a lot of this is politicians that are corrupt, that money launder that money to themselves. And we gonna prove it today. Yeah, this gonna be a long one, so buckle up. Buckle up. We going to Chicago, baby. We going to the city of the wind. Shy City, baby. Yeah, man. So let's get into this commentary.
Here to weigh in is P. Ray Easley, Chicago Red founder. She's one of the women in the MAGA hats Trump was talking about today. Also with me, Brandy Cruz, independent journalist you just saw speaking at the President's Antifa Roundtable. P. Ray, let's start with you in Chicago. So this Biden appointee judge rules that the National Guard cannot help there. Your reaction tonight?
That's okay. They're going to lose this case. The Border Patrol deserves to be protected. Currently, our local police forces are not stepping in and they're getting hurt while trying to remove violent criminals from our city. And
now let's add some context to that. Some context. So right now, what we have going on is an extremely liberal, extremely democratic blue city and state, Illinois. Governor Pritzker as governor and Mayor Brandon Johnson as the mayor of Chicago. And Trump has vowed to get illegal immigrants out of the city and state of Chicago, Illinois. He has sent in ICE agents that are doing active ICE raids to get illegal immigrants, the most violent of them, out of the city and the state and the country. And what we have here is situations where protests, massive amount of protests, people come out and fight against ICE and antagonize them. In that one situation, ICE was outnumbered. It was 30 ICE agents and it was 100 protesters. They started throwing things at ICE agents. They were outnumbered. So ICE called Chicago PD, the police department, for backup to come subdue the situation and get it under control because it was getting a little too rowdy. Now ICE is walking around with assault rifles. You know, they ain't got no, you know, they you know, that could have got bad. And Mayor Brandon Johnson has put in an executive order so that the Chicago Police Department cannot aid and assist the ICE agents, which are federal agents. That right there is criminal behavior, to put in an order that the police cannot offer help to their brothers and sisters in law enforcement is unprecedented that he would do that. So the police have orders to not help the ICE agents, even if they are outnumbered. That gave Donald Trump the green light to put in for Insurrection Act. The only way he could deploy the National Guard into the city and state of Illinois without the consent of the governor. So he could bypass, if the Insurrection Act, if he could prove that they are performing an insurrection by not protecting the ICE agents in the city of Chicago when they are being threatened by protesters that are being violent towards them, Trump put in the Insurrection Act so he could deploy the National Guard, which the National Guard could then come in and protect the ICE agents, since the Chicago Police Department refuses to, because the man said, don't protect them. So now the mayor and the governor have went to court to fight against Trump sending in the National Guard, even though they don't want their police department to help protect the National Guard. So that's where we at right now. So I'm going to run that back a little bit now that we have more context.
President's Antifa Roundtable. P. Ray, let's start with you in Chicago. So this Biden appointee judge rules that the National Guard cannot help there. Your reaction tonight?
That's okay. They're going to lose this case. The Border Patrol deserves to be protected. Currently, our local police forces are not stepping in, and they're getting hurt while trying to remove violent criminals from our city. And the reason that they want to keep them here is because illegal immigration is big business in the city of Chicago. The state of Illinois has spent $2 billion on their health care. Someone's paying for them to live. Someone's paying for them to eat. Someone's paying their lights, gas, and water. And then someone's getting paid to oversee that entire process. If the president is successful in getting them out of here, then where will those people get paid? So that's what we're fighting against, which is why even if the National Guard never comes, we want our president to send prosecutors to the city of Chicago to get to the bottom of this corruption, because we didn't deserve to have our tax dollars wasted like this.
Yeah, that's a lot of money shoveled over toward the illegal aliens. And we've been talking about this for many, many years on the.
Now, you got people that's on my page that are so misinformed, telling me that illegal immigrants don't qualify for benefits. Shit. Yeah, people that are really in tune, they know better. This lady from the city, you know what I'm saying? This is what she do. She covers this. She said $2 billion. Now, I only said 638 million. You know, my research go back that far. Hey, she said 2 billion, so I'm off substantially, right? Let's continue.
On the angle, Brandy. First of all, I want to tell you, your appearance was fantastic at the White House. Kudos to you. I loved every minute of it. And thank you for being out there and exposing it and talking about what you initially saw or thought about these so-called protests. Brandy, a Rutgers University professor who's known as this anti-fascism scholar, what a joke, says that he's leaving America. I know you're upset, so watch.
Since President Trump's executive order declaring Antifa a quote-unquote terrorist organization, I've received a number of threats really instigated by online provocateurs. And so I feared for my safety and the safety of my family by staying in our home, decided that it made sense to move to Spain.
So I guess it's one of these protesters organizers with Antifa, you know what I'm saying? So Trump declared Antifa a terrorist organization because they are attacking ICE agents as they're trying to do their job. You know, they throw these massive riots, which what I would allege are being funded by certain Democratic lenders. And, you know, a lot of times it gets violent. So, yeah, if you attacking federal agents in the street that's trying to perform their job, physically, then yeah, you might be declared a terrorist group.
Brandy, this is what it's come to. Okay, these people are unstable and unhinged, it would seem.
Yeah, and look, it's interesting coming from the side that wants us to believe that Antifa isn't real. You know, if we get assaulted, we made it up. If we have incontrovertible evidence that we got assaulted, well, okay, you got assaulted, but it wasn't that bad. And even if the person who assaults us calls themselves Antifa, Antifa still isn't real. So he wants me to feel bad that, you know, nobody should feel unsafe in their home. Nobody should be threatened. But that's what we've been trying to say for 15 years. I've been assaulted by Antifa in Seattle for 15 years, even when I was a mainstream TV reporter, Laura. And so they...
Yeah, so we can kind of stop that right there. I don't want to get too far off into the Antifa talk and all of that. You know, that's, we could say that for a different video. But I did want to illustrate that what is done at the border as far as illegal immigration trickles down into your local and state government. Because see, what they do at the border, the Democrats on a national level affects your city and state. These local and state politicians, such as Mayor Brandon Johnson and Governor Pritzker, they get all this funding for the illegal immigrants and they money launder it to themselves. And I want to bring up a video of a young lady from Chicago who's very well informed about what's going on, more informed than I am. And Patrice L. Stewart, which I just learned out, she was actually the one that organized Chicago Flips Red. So kudos to her. But I came across this video. Shout out to Lex, she shared it to me. And man, it was a lot of great information in this video about the corruption that's going on in Chicago. And yeah, the hypocrisy of the Democrats regarding illegal immigration. And maybe this is why they're so hypocritical, because they benefit financially, historically. Let's go.
These last couple of days, especially from some of y'all on YouTube that's been sending me some stuff. But let me get my point across. I found this video that Kata had made, and this is actually some of the stuff that I was getting ready to share next week with showing the money. So next week I got this series that I'm starting called Follow the Money. And we're going to be talking about different cities, different states. It's not always going to be just Chicago, because you all need to know what's been happening and what's going on. So one of the videos that I'm sharing right now.
Let's talk about the money that is being spent. I think that there needs to be a federal audit against the company that we have contracted out to take care of the migrants. We have nurses that are being paid $64,000 a month. We have security officers that are being paid as much as $24,000 a month. We have home health care workers that are being paid up to $17,000 a month. You don't think that Chicagoans could have benefited from that? We have citizens in this city that have been on the waiting list for affordable housing for years, and migrants have been bumped in front of them. We have people who have been given up to $9,000 a month for housing assistance. That amount of money can be life-changing for some families here in the city of Chicago. We are not anti-migrant. We do sympathize with them. But what I am is I am pro-Black. I am for...
This game, you're not ready for it.
So did you hear that dollar amount? $64,000. That's what I have in my notes as well. So we hired Favorite Staffing here in Chicago. Favorite Staffing is the same staffing company that was running things in Texas. The Texas governor got tired. He started shipping the people that were coming across the border to blue states, especially blue states that were sanctuary cities, that were welcoming cities, as Mayor Brandon likes to say. We're a welcoming city. That's right. So how all of this got started, you know, even with you all, some of you all finding my video and, you know, everybody in uproar about the raid in Chicago and that building on the South Shore side. 150 units, remember that. 150 units and less than 15 Black families were still living there. Let's be clear. 150 units and less than 15 Black families were still living there. So the few people that y'all saw on the TV, those people very well could have still been living there. That's their story. That's their experience. They were a part of the raid. But let's be clear, that building used to be completely Black, 150 units. 150 units down to less than 15. You do the math. You figure it out. But if you just heard her get on here and say that $64,000 was paid to one nurse in a 30-day pay period.
Now I want to stop that right there. $64,000 was paid to a nurse that was a part of this staffing agency, right? Called Favorite Staffing or something like that. And you had, I mean, people don't make that in a year. You know, you got some nurses that make, you know, that or more, but in a month, if that ain't no money laundering, obviously to you, then I don't know what to tell you. They split that up, bro. But they had to find a mechanism. They had to find something that they could use to funnel that money through. So you working at this staffing agency as a nurse for this nursing home or whatever type of institution for illegal immigrants, right? Y'all get all this money. Y'all got to find a way to launder it so y'all can get the funding through a legal mechanism. Pay attention. She gonna name some more.
64. Some nurses make that the whole year. And this nurse was paid $64,000 in a 30-day pay period. There was security. How many of you all work security jobs? How many of you all know people who work security jobs? Do you know any security officers that make $24,000 in a 30-day period? Do you know any security officers that make $24,000 in a 30-day period? Okay. Exactly. That's what I said. Was she curing Ebola? Ebola? What the hell? No, this was a nurse that was working in a migrant shelter.
Okay. Migrant shelter. Y'all hearing this? A security guard made $24,000 in a month. See, it's people that know. Like I told you, these migrants, they might get some of this money, but hey, a lot of this money go right back into the politician hands, right? And they use certain ways to disguise it in a legal way, you know. But when you really know the numbers and you dig deep, that's why they don't want President Trump and the rest of these, you know, federal government agencies to come in here and start to really break down some of this money laundering, because this smells like a RICO racketeering of epic proportions in the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois. When you got security guards and nurses clearing $17,000 to $64,000 in a month, they dicing that up.
No, you don't, Stoney. Right. I don't either. I don't know any nurse that make $64,000 in 1 month. Now I'm in taxes. So I do several nurses' taxes, even my traveling nurses. Some of them make $150,000 to $200,000 in a year, the whole year. I don't know any nurse that makes $64,000 in 1 month in a 30-day period. I don't know any security officer that makes $24,000 in a 30-day period. Healthcare, what she say, a home healthcare agent. Now, some of y'all home healthcare agents, I don't know what y'all make, but I know you're not bringing home $17,000 in 1 month. $17,000. Exactly. Exactly. And that's what we've been screaming from the rooftops. This video was filmed November 9th, 2023.
Wow.
Almost 2 years ago. I told y'all, the real fighters of Chicago, we've been doing this. We've been speaking up. We've been calling it out. We've been doing it. And this is why when I started seeing so much money pass down there, I was so heated and pissed off and ready to fight the mayor, the alderman. I got into it with a Hispanic alderman down there. I said, all right, Patrice, you don't have the emotional intelligence to be down here. Because Peaches was ready to come out, okay? I did not have the emotional intelligence to be down there consistently like that.
So that's crazy. She was down there when they was passing this money out, watching the corruption before her eyes happen. She saw it. And knowing that you are a tax-paying citizen and where your tax dollars are going to, when they don't have a dime for you, the Chicago public school system at a $770 million deficit. The city budget at a $1.15 billion deficit. The CTA is at a $717 million deficit. The CPD is at a $98 million deficit, but they got $2 billion to get to illegal immigrants. Out your tax dollars that supposed to serve, the politicians supposed to work for you. So we can stop that right there. If you want to go back and look at this video, which I strongly encourage you to do, not only look at the video, like, share, and subscribe to her channel. Patrice L. Stewart. I just got in tune with her channel. And yeah, we can stop that right there, man. It's crazy. She just dropped that video about 13, 14 hours ago from what I'm doing this video. So it's a new one. Maybe the last one. But yeah, man, I wanna stop the music right here. And we almost had a hour on this. The hypocrisy of the Democrats regarding illegal immigration. I think we did a good job of debunking the lies that they don't get benefits. Yeah, they get them, but who else gets rewarded in the process? Looks like the politicians do. These blue cities and these blue states, it's a trickle-down effect from the federal government down to these blue cities and blue states, where the corruption lies. And with that, I do want to say I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I definitely do. And man, till next time, it's your boy Jay Taylor, Voices for the Voiceless. We love y'all. And till next time, we should see you soon. Peace and blessings.